Good morning, students. Let's start with the next topic, that is iteration statements. In the previous lecture, we have studied switch statement and what is iteration statement. And today we are going to start with the for statement. Now, what is for loop and why we use for loop? Students, for loop is one of the easiest loop and one of the loop which we use which we can efficiently use in a program to increase the efficiency of the program. So let's start with the for loop. What is the syntax of for loop and how we have to use in a C++ program? So look at the syntax. The very first line is for. For is a keyword. Again, you have studied keywords. Keywords are the reserved words. So here for is a keyword. Now in the bracket, you have to write three things. So now what is the meaning of these three conditions? You have to write three conditions. The first is initialization, second is condition, and the third is increment decrement, and you have to separate it with the semicolon. Now for is a keyword. Now what is initialization? So if we are using any of the variable, it is mandatory that you first have to initialize that variable. So when we as I have explained you a program of C++ where I have explained you that whenever we have to write a program, we have to declare variable as well as we can declare a variable as well as we can initialize a variable. It is our choice. So initialization is when we assign a value to some specific variable. So inside the for loop, the first thing is we have to initialize a variable. We have to assign the value that from what value the loop will start. In the next, that is condition, you have to apply the condition. The for loop will execute the process by checking the condition. For example, you want to print first 10 numbers, so you have to initialize the value of the for loop as let's suppose I take variable I is equals to 0. If I initialize I is equals to 0, it means it will first print the number as a 0. Now condition is I want to print first 10 numbers. So I have to apply the condition as I less than 9, because first 10 numbers are 0 to 9. So I less than 9. So inside the conditional part, you have to write the condition. How many numbers you want to print, whatever condition you want to apply, you have to write that content inside the condition. And for loop will execute the process by checking the condition only. Students, I have already told you in the previous lecture that when we use loops or when we use looping statements, it repeats the process till the condition is satisfied. Till the condition is satisfied means till the condition is true. So it will check the condition. If the condition is true, then it will print the value. Otherwise it will stop and exit from the loop. So if the condition becomes false, the control will exit from the loop. Now next is increment decrement. Increment decrement is used to increment the step by 1, and decrement is if we are printing the number in reverse order. So we are starting from the 9th element, then we have to decrement to print the next number 8. So in that case we decrement the value. So increment and decrement is used to increment the value by 1 and to decrement the value by 1. It is choice of the user, whatever user wants to use. So the I hope it is clear to you what are the three things that you have to write inside the for loop: initialization, condition, increment and decrement. Initialization is used to initialize the value. Condition is used to put the condition. The loop will execute only by checking the condition. If the condition is true, then it will print the values. Otherwise, it will exit from the loop. And if the condition is false, it will not print any value. It will exit from the loop. Increment decrement is used to increment the value by 1. Now this is the condition. Now start with the curly bracket. Here you have to write the statement, whatever you want to print, whatever you want to write. So you have to write the statements inside the curly bracket that ends with semicolon and then curly bracket close. And see students, you do not put semicolon at the end of the for loop, because this is a condition. You cannot write semicolon at the end. But when we have to write these three statements, initialization, condition, increment, decrement, you have to separate it with the semicolon. So this is the syntax of for loop. Now I have taken a one example to explain you in detail that what is for loop and how we can use it in a program. So I have taken this example to print first 5 numbers. So this is example to print first 6 numbers. Look at the first line, hash include iostream dot h. Next is void main. Inside the main section you have to apply loop. So for example, you want to print first 6 numbers, so you can make use of any of the variable. So as I have used I variable, so for integer I, so it is your choice. You can also declare integer I at the starting of the program instead in the for loop. So I have not declared it differently, so that's why I have written the integer word inside the for loop. So it means the value or the data type of the I variable is of integer type. So for is a keyword, bracket start, I is equals to 1. So it means we are initializing the value of I is equals to 1. Then semicolon, I less than is equals to 6. This is a condition, I less than is equals to 6. So it will repeat the process till the value of the I is less than is equals to 6. And then I plus plus. I plus plus is used to increment the value of I. Now curly bracket start, C out. So this is the message that we want to print. The value of variable is this, and this is operator I and L. And L is used to end the line. This will print the value of the I, curly bracket close, return 0. Now this is the example of for loop, and it will print the first 6 numbers. Now I want to show you, or I want to explain you how it will print the first 6 numbers. So as the first condition is I is equals to 1, condition I less than is equals to 6, condition is true, then I increment. So first it will print the value of I as 1, and by incrementing the value of I, it will become 2. In the second step, the value of I become 2. 2 is again less than 6, condition true, it will increment the value of I. Now the value of I becomes 3. Now the value of I is 3. 3 is less than 6, condition true, it will again increment the value of I till the 6. So this will print the value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When the value of I becomes 6, it will check 6 is less than is equals to 6, condition true, and it will increment the value of I 7. If I is equals to 7, 7 is less than is equals to 6, no, condition becomes false, then it will exit from the loop and it will not print number 7. So it will print the numbers up to 6. So this is how the for loop works. Now the next looping statement is while loop. Now what is while loop? While loop is again a conditional loop, as we have applied condition in a for loop. Similarly, we also have to apply condition in a while loop, but the syntax of while loop is different. So let's see how the while loop works. Look at the syntax, while condition. Now again, while is a keyword. So students, keywords are the reserved words and it has specific meaning. So this is the reason that I have explained you that we cannot use reserved words while declaring any variable. Okay, so while is a keyword, and inside the bracket this is condition. So here you have to apply condition. For example, let's consider the same example of this, I want to print first 6 numbers. So what I have to do is, I have to write condition with the while I is less than is equals to 6. It means it will repeat the process, it will check the condition, it will repeat the process if the condition is true, if I is less than is equals to 6. And then you have to start with the curly bracket and you have to write the body of the loop. Body of the loop means content that you want to display, whatever content you want to display, and then curly bracket close. Now see students, while loop will first check the condition. If the condition is true, only then it will execute the statements, otherwise it will exit from the loop and it will not print anything. So that is while loop. This is the flowchart of while loop. So look at this. First is diamond box. When we have to write any condition, we can make use of diamond box. So it will first check the condition, as I have already told you that while loop will first check the condition. Look at the syntax. We have written the condition in the first line. It will first check the condition. If the condition is true, then only it will move to the next part, otherwise it will exit from the loop. So the first condition, first is diamond box test condition. It will check the condition. If the condition is true, look at the downwards arrow, true. If the condition is true, then it will execute the body of the loop, while loop body. If the condition is false, look at the right hand side arrow from the test condition, false. If the condition is false, then it will exit from the loop, it will not execute anything. So the funda of while loop is very simple. It will first check the condition. If the condition is true, then it will execute the body, otherwise it will exit from the loop. So this is while loop. Now the next category of looping statement is do while. Now what is do while and what is the main difference between while and do while? So see students, as we have studied while statement, here there is a one more word before while, that is do. Do while. Do is again a keyword, while is also a keyword. So this is a combination of two words, do while. Now what is the difference between while and do while? As I have explained you that in the when user make use of while statement, it will first check the condition. If the condition is true, then only it will execute the body of the loop. But in case of do while, it executes the case once. Firstly, it executes the case one time, then it will check the condition. So that's why there is a word before while, that is do. So with the do we can execute the loop one time, and then we can check the condition. If the condition is true, then it will execute the body of the loop, otherwise it will exit. So with the do statement, it allows to execute the case at least once. So look at the syntax of do while. Do is a keyword, curly bracket start, body of loop, then it will execute the body of the loop. So do is a keyword, and after do there is a curly bracket, then body of the loop, semicolon, curly bracket close. So this is how the do executes the case at least once. Then while will check the condition. If the condition is true, then only it will execute the case, otherwise it will exit from the loop. So this is do while. Now look at this flow chart of do while. First of all, it will execute the body at least once. So that's why there is a expression box at the first line. Do while, it will execute the loop body, it will execute the body at least once. Then next arrow is, then next is test condition. In the diamond box, the next step is test condition. The while will check the condition. If the condition is true, look at the left hand side arrow. If the condition is true, then again it will execute the body of the loop. And if the condition is false, there is a downward arrow. If the condition is false, then it will exit from the loop, then it will not execute body of the loop. So look at the flow chart. There is a difference between while and do while. So in case of while, it first check the condition and then only decides that whether they have to execute the body or not. Whereas in do while, it executes the case at least once and then check the condition. So if the condition is true, then it will again execute the body of the loop, otherwise it will exit from the loop. So these are the looping statements that we have studied. So students, today we have studied three categories in the iteration part: for statement, while statement, and do while statement. So this is a for statement and this is the syntax of for statement. This is the example of for statement. While loop is where it first checks the condition and then only decides. This is the flow chart of while statement. This is do while statement. This is the flow chart of do while statement. So with this we have completed the second category. Now we have to start with the third category. Look at this diagram. Control statements. As we are studying the topic C++ control statements, we have already completed selection statements and iteration statements. In the selection statements, we have studied if statements and switch statement. In the iteration statements, we have completed while, for loop, and do while. Now the third category is jump statements. Now we have to study jump statements. So what is jump statement and why we make use of jump statement? Inside the jump statement, we have three statements: break, go to, continue. This is jump statement. Now why we make use of jump statement? As the name is jump, students, sometimes there may arise a situation that when we have to jump the control from one location to another. So in for this we have different jump statements. So by using these jump statements, we can jump the control from one location to another location easily. So the jump statements defined in C++ are, what are the different jump statements? Break, continue, go to, and return. In addition to these jump statements, a standard library function, exit, is also used to jump out of an entire program. So we also have one more function, that is exit function. If we want to exit from the complete program, then we can make use of exit function to make the control move out from the main program. And we have to study break, continue, go to, and return. So let's start with the very first statement, break statement. Now what is break statement? Break statement So students, as we have studied different looping statements, different if statements, and even switch statement, I have explained you that if you want to end the case, you can make use of break statement. So the meaning, what is the meaning of break statement and why we make use of break statement? Break statement is used to end the situation, to end the case. If we want to move out from one specific condition, we can make use of break to end that condition. So this is the reason why we make use of break statement. And we have also used break in the switch cases to end the every case, and we have used break at the end of every case. Now let's study break statement. A break statement is extensively used in loops and switch statements. We also make use of break statement in loops when we have to end the loops. A break statement immediately terminates the loop or the switch statement, bypassing the remaining statements. Now, why we make use of break statement? We make use of break statement to terminate the loop. Terminate the loop means to end the loops. Sometimes the condition is true, but we do not want to execute next cases. So we want to break the loop forcefully. So we can make use of break statement. And we also make use of break statement in switch statement to end the case, because it allows to execute another case. So when we use break statement, the control then passes to the statement that immediately follows the loop or the switch statement. So after students, when we make use of break statement, it immediately allows the control to move to the next immediate case. Whatever is the next immediate case, it allows the case to switch to that particular case. So this is how and why we make use of break statement. So students, that's all for today. In the today's lecture, we have studied break statement and different looping statements, while, for loop, while loop, do while loop, and in the third category, jump statements, we have studied break statement. So that's all for today. Tomorrow we will start with next jumping statements, continue, go to and return. Thank you.